I have loved strangers, and after them will I go.
See, that's been Israel's problem always. We have always loved the other nations.
And their gods.
And their God, and we wanted to follow them. Follow the other stranger. We follow the customs. Even to the point where we sacrifice our own children to their own Canaanite gods.
Every other Negro will refuse to talk about who Canaan is because they don't know who Canaan is. They've never been taught who Canaan is. Because once they start learning who Canaan is, then they realize that they're Canaanites.
Shalom, Shalom, Israel. It's your brother Jose. Today I want to discuss a few things that I've been seeing on the internet. It's been bothering me how unlearned a lot of these brothers are when it comes to the scripture. And the topic I would like to discuss today is what is a Mamzer? And does Torah forbid mixing with all nations? We're going to get into great detail today on this topic to help edify a lot of the brothers who are truly lost when it comes to this Mamzer doctrine. Now, a lot of brothers like to say that if you are a mixed person, you are a Mamzer. Now, I'm going to show through the scriptures that that is not so. And these brothers don't know what they're talking about. So before I get into the lesson, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, for putting the spirit in me to come and bring you guys this lesson, because I felt the need to bring this out, because I'm tired of seeing the same thing over and over again from unlearned brothers. But we're going to get right into it. And we're going to first start with what they like to go to is Deuteronomy 23, and we'll start at verse 2. And it reads, Deuteronomy 23, verse 2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even till his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Now, these brothers like to use this scripture to try to say, well, oh, you Hispanics or natives, you're a mixed multitude and you're a bunch of mamzers and you're kicked out of the congregation. When they can't back that up through Torah if their life depended on it. So let's get into the Strong's definition to see why these brothers are getting this idea. And the Strong's number is H4464, Mamzer. It means a child of incest, an illegitimate child, a bastard, a mixed population, born of a Jewish father and a heathen mother, or vice versa. So a lot of these brothers like to go off of the Strong's definition for what a bastard is. But I'm just going to show you, brothers, today that the Strong's, we can't rely on it 100% all the time. We all know that the measuring stick is the scriptures, and the scriptures is going to bring out the truth. Now, according to the Strong's, it says that a Mamzer is a mixed population or a Jewish father and a heathen mother, or vice versa. Now, we're going to show you the error in the Strong's, showing you that it can't be a mixed population or a Jewish father and heathen woman. Now, the first place I would like to take you to is, matter of fact, the story of Joseph and his sons. We know Joseph married an Egyptian woman, had 2 children, Ephraim and Manasseh. So according to the Strong's, it's calling Ephraim and Manasseh a Mamzer. I really want you brothers to really think about that, Because I know a lot of y'all rely on the Strongs instead of the scriptures. Well, the Strongs is contradicting what the scriptures is saying. Because we all know that Ephraim and Manasseh are not Mamzers. Another example of that is Moses. Moses had 2 sons from a heathen woman. And let's see what the Most High called his sons. Let's see if he called his sons Mamzers, like what these brothers teach, or did the Most High call his sons Israelites? Let's go to 1 Chronicles and 23. I'm going to start at verse 14. And it says this: Now concerning Moses, the man of God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses were Gershom and Eleazar. So we clearly see in the scripture Moses and his children, who he had with an heathen woman, the children were called after Israel. Now, I gave you 2 examples using Joseph and Moses to prove the definition of Mamzer wrong. Because a Mamzer is a child of incest. I will prove that in a second. But what these brothers would like to do when you bring these points out, well, Moses and Joseph, well, all of that was before the written law or the law was given. That's what these brothers will try to use, which is silly. Because even when you guys use that, you're cutting yourself. Because let's see what Psalms 147 says. Verse 19, and it reads, He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So when these brothers tell me or try to tell you people that Moses and Joseph was a special something that the Most High allowed, they would probably say that the Most High allowed that. Well, Psalms 147 says that Jacob had the law and the statutes and commandments and the judgments for it. So are you telling me that Jacob didn't teach his sons? Y'all going to have to explain that. Because Joseph did know the law, statutes, and commandments and the judgments. So if him taking that Egyptian woman was wrong, why don't we see that clearly in the scriptures? And why wasn't Ephraim and Manasseh called Mamzers like you brothers teach? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 23. This is verse 2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even till his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. So we already proved that a bastard cannot mean a mixed person. But we're also going to prove it when we continue to read in the same chapter. Because this is what a mamzer is. And verse 3 gives us the answer. And it says, And an Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. Now we have to ask ourselves, how was the Ammonite and the Moabite made? Under incest. Lot and his daughters. That's why in the Strong's where it says the first definition, child of incest. Because that's what it is. A mamzer is a child of incest, not a mixed child. Also to prove that, the punishment for a bastard, it says that they shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord to the 10th generation, right? But now when we go down to verse 7, and it reads, Thou shalt not harbor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not harbor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their 3rd generation. But I thought a bastard couldn't enter to the congregation until the 10th generation. You see what's going on here? A bastard cannot mean a mixed child. It can't. Because we see here in verse 8 that if you mix with an Egyptian or an Edomite, that you could be brought back in the 3rd generation. There's 2 different judgments going on here. So we clearly see that a mamzer is not from mixing. Now, like I said, a lot of these brothers would like to talk about, Moses and Joseph, that was in the written. They didn't have the law yet. Okay. Even if I was to say and give you that, okay, Moses and them before they had the law, even though you clearly see that's a lie, then let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 2. Because y'all brothers are going to have to explain this. This is David here. This is David. And we're going to see David marry a heathen woman, his 3rd wife, and has a child by her. And nowhere does it call his son a mamzer like you brothers teach. Let's read. This is verse 2. And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amnon of Avnomim, the Jezreelites, and his second Chilab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite, and the 3rd Absalom. So his 3rd son, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmi, king of Geshur. Now, King David's 3rd wife was a Syrian, and their son, Absalom, wasn't called a mamzer or was put away like you brothers teach. This is after the law. Now, you brothers can't say that David, David sinned. Well, so did Solomon. They were sin. Well, in this case of David, in 2 Samuel, let's get to it. 2 Samuel 15, to prove that his 3rd son, or Maacah, was an Assyrian. Okay, this is 2 Samuel 15, verse 8. And it reads, For thy servant vowed a vow while I abode in Gershom, in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. So we know Gershom is in Syria. So like I said, this is common sense that King David got his 3rd wife, which I'm going to bring up later in the later topic about the mixing. 3rd wife, their son was not called a mamzer. This is after the written law, if these brothers try to hit you with that. Let's get another example. Rehoboam. Now, Rehoboam, mother was an Ammonite. And we all know that Rehoboam became a king of the Jews. So are you brothers telling me that a mamzer, what you brothers teach is a mamzer, became a king over Israel? You brothers really need to think about these things, man. But let's get that. It's in 1 Kings 14. Chapter 14, and we'll start at verse 21. And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned in Judah. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord did choose out of all the tribes of Israel, to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah, an Ammonitess. Rehoboam's mother, it was a heathen. But yet Rehoboam was not called a mamzer, or he certainly wasn't put away. because he clearly became a king over Judah. Nowhere does it call him a Mamzer like you brothers teach. It's clear in the scriptures. So we already went to Deuteronomy 23 and cut up the definition of a bastard because it can't be it. That's why I tell brothers we can't rely on the Strongs 100% all the time. The ultimate measuring stick is the scriptures. And the scriptures prove the definition of a Mamzer to be wrong. Well, at least half of it, because I got the first part right, a child of incest. Because that's what a Mamzer is. So you brothers need to stop vexing the so-called natives and Hispanics talking about, oh, y'all kicked out of the congregation because y'all a bunch of Mamzers. Well, it's obviously you brothers don't know what a Mamzer is. You don't know.
Shalom, Yashrala. Thank you for watching this class. For more on it, please check out our channel at YouTube at Ancient Watchman. Also, do not forget to subscribe. Shalom.